Good morning. Well, it's the next day. Excuse me. Taking all the weights off my track, and it's nicely tacked into place. So it actually doesn't, you don't need to let it dry overnight. A couple of hours should be sufficient to get it dry enough to hold the track in place. I just did it this way because I was done for the day. So you may have, now that I've got this tacked down, you may have some questions as to, well, what happens if something goes wrong and there's a really bad kink in the rail, or something, just doesn't look out, well, just something just doesn't look right. Well, I happen to have that problem right here. The rail track here was shifted over too far that way, so there was a little bit of a kink going into this turnout. Now, trying to fix things like that isn't too difficult, and that's what I'm going to do today. So let me zoom in a little bit. Now, if you followed my advice and okay, get this centered right. If you followed my advice and was fairly conservative on how much caulking you use, this shouldn't be too big of a deal to do. All I do is take a little cheap razor, get at the hardware store, and I just start going underneath the ties like that. And just very carefully cut through the caulking. And you may have to take several passes depending on how much you put on. You want to try not to dig into the cork road bed too much. Just go a little bit more like that each time. You can see it's starting to cut through. If you have accessibility problems on one side, like I do here, that's not too big of a deal. You just you can approach it from this side. Ideally, you want to try to score it from both sides. I mean, try to lift the track up underneath from both sides. But this way will work too. So go ahead and continue to cut. This is a part I already did earlier. As you can see, the blade goes under there nice. Let me just go a little bit more here. And you can see a little bit further, and you can see this starting to lift up. And there you have it. So it's a lot easier to do if you didn't use a whole lot of caulking. So, and if you did if you have some spots where you have a bunch of globs there and it's a lot more, then you just have to nurse it a little bit more, or do more passes. You want to try to cut everything at once. You'll break the plastic ties, and you'll tear out cork from the road bed. So you just want to get it clean, sever this cleanly from your road bed. Now, in order to put caulking on again underneath it, that's fairly simple to do. I'll just take this little piece of road bed on here and just put a little caulk on there. Oops, there. Just a little bit. Like that. A little blob. I'm going to take the same blade I used to cut, or you could use another blade. These are cheap, so if you want to use one for spreading, you can always wipe the caulking off. Just going to put a little bit on there, like that. I'm going to lift the track up a bit, slide this underneath, and just spread it, like that. Go down here a little bit more. Just spread it out underneath. And go as close as you can to where you first started cutting the track loose from the road bed. Go all the way to the end here, as far as you can. Just spread nice thin layer. And I've got this, scrape this off. Put a little bit more here. There. That's what you do. Now, you go ahead and you reposition your track and we get the kink out of it. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at it here from this end, eyeball it. Oh, that looks much better. Much better than it looked before. It was too far that way, and so it didn't flow smoothly into this turnout here. So yeah. Yes. Okay, now I've got this in position. What I'm going to do is break out the handy weights I've been using, weight it down, and then let it dry for a couple hours or so. And that's essentially how you go ahead and fix a kink in your track.